Man, what's going on, world? Got an assortment of I don't even know, videos and images. I also have an assortment of topics and ideas, but I'm like, ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong, right or wrong to really tap into. I had just had a couple brain farts these past couple weeks. I had ideas that I wrote down, and a lot of it was like I felt like it was right in that moment, but either I didn't have the time because I was too busy doing other things like multitasking at work to complete them. And like, it's like one of those, the best time for me to do any of these things is usually like right after my shift. Like towards the end of my shift, I'll have a few minutes to myself because realistically, man, I don't like, I'll clock out for lunch and I'll clock back in from lunch, but I'm really working the whole time. You know, that's really how my workflow works, where I'm like, I don't take that lunch in that 30 minute section at the 4 hour mark or whatever. I don't really do that personally. I know some people that do, and they're really good at it. They're good at timing it, and for me, it's just I'm not a. I just got to knock the work out, and then what's left, what I'm saying. I kind of like gauge out if what's left is like manageable, and then from there, I kind of just test my day out. But some days, I'll have enough time to like bust the laptop out, upload some files of my own. So you'll see me bust out upload some of my gaming files. You'll see some of that gameplays, I should say. You know, coming soon. You're probably gonna catch this. I believe it's Bomberman coming out soon. Because I had just actually beat the game. It took me like about a week or less than a week to complete that. But nah, man, it's just like sit there, do a little I don't know, miniature update. You know what I'm saying, on things. There's nothing really in particular. I didn't even have my joint with me. So the simple fact that I had my joint with me, I was supposed to sit there below that, pause, and then just keep it flowing, just sitting at the little bench or whatever the hell I'm doing. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Um, just trying to utilize the time, man. It's just like right now, actually as of today, the Chiefs and the Bills are playing, and Philly just beat the Commanders, which is like rightfully so. But I had a weird feeling Commanders are gonna go far, but who knows? Like, who knows what the script or how things are supposed to play out? Who the fuck knows? Um, Injuries be real though, so we gotta account for that shit. A whole other side of the game, but yeah, the Bills and the Chiefs. I think it's 21-16 last time I checked. Chiefs were up by 5, so we'll see what's going on with that. I think Buffalo got like 2 kicks or some shit. I don't remember exactly, but it's within a touchdown at this point to get over. So, anyway, that's beside the point. I will say it's interesting because it's an election year, and then the last 4 teams are the Commanders and Chiefs, aka the Commander in Chief, and then Buffalo Bill, the American Buffalo and the American Eagle, the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's really interesting that the last 4 teams are, that's as American as it gets. You know, the Chiefs are like most hated right now. It's interesting because we just left the era of, hating on the Patriot, and now we're okay with the Patriot, and now we're hating on the Chief, and I don't know how I feel about that. You know, I root for the Chiefs because, personally, I'm Filipino, so it's like my roots is Datus and shit like that. Datus is a translation for Chief, so I root for the Chiefs for that reason. That's what it is, bruh. Datus, and there's another sultans and rajas. There's another term I'm looking for. It's like another native term from the islands, but there's like 80 different languages, 80 different dialects and languages. Excuse me, that are spoken over there. A lot of them go unnoticed. A lot of languages are kept alive. That's a whole other story, I guess. I guess on that topic, I will say, you know, because I was just reading the notes. I was like, whatever. That's a good little warm up. Whatever we end up facilitating the conversation towards, it'll end up being there. And on that same note, I will say, one of the notes I wrote was somewhere along the lines of like, wanting to be heard, but you're not speaking as yourself. And there's a lot of people like that, and I've been in a lot of spaces. I've probably been there myself. Where like, I'll give you an example, man. It's like, you know, when I was leaving, I dropped out of high school my sophomore year, so I'm just just doing my thing, and I'm like getting my GED, but I'm kicking it outside the whole time. I'm just outside, and like during that whole time period, it's like you're chopping up with everybody, and you're learning like, all right, these certain people right here, they're gonna sit here and continue struggling because they want to continue being around some bullshit. Other people, they didn't necessarily ask to be in that predicament. They're just kind of in it and they're trying to navigate and survive it. But they're so used and accustomed to it, and accustomed to those situations and those the pain that comes with it, if not the things you tolerate or whatever. Like I'm trying to I'm basically like sugarcoating this shit, but you know that shit was like normal to me. That vernacular, the lifestyle itself, and the normalcy of just like not having a job, just being outside. You get it how you live, whatever. I'm being very vague for obvious reasons. I ain't the type of motherfucker to incriminate myself, obviously, but that's a whole nother story and situation. But the point I'm making is that, because I was so used to being around people who were really heavy in the street, I'd always speak on behalf of them. And like, even in terms of music, it was like, these motherfuckers can't rap for shit, but I'm really nice with the words. So, you know what? I'm gonna start rapping on their behalf on some Tupac shit. And that's really what it is, because I was inspired by Tupac because it's like, motherfuckers say some real shit. Music is hella hard, pause. And the thing about it is, he wasn't doing a lot of the shit he was talking about, but he spoke in regard to the people that he was willing to fight and die for. You know what I'm saying? And the people that he actually grew up living with, type shit. The what do you call this? The I forget. I don't even remember the exact term of like when you grew up with someone. Ah, damn, I forgot. Childhood friend kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So his childhood friends and like shit like that. Like he kind of rapped on their behalf, and he was also speaking on behalf of a lot of people who he had met and obviously lost their life in the street, etc. So I kind of was inspired like on the same kind of thing. Obviously I fuck with that, and like Nas, where it's like there's a bit of introspection, and there's a bit of like you hit certain plateaus of success, and you look back and reflect, and you see who's still around you, type shit. There's a bit of that in there. Jay-Z kind of does the same thing, I guess you'd say. But yeah, but everybody knows DMX is a goat. Other than that, but anyway, the point I'm making is that I had been in spaces where like people would be talking all this crazy shit in these organizing spaces about the very specifics of whether it be, what's the word I'm looking for, whether it be like I don't know if judicial is the right word I'm going to use for this situation, but there's terminologies that they would use for when people would get arrested and shit like that. People get um, charged, I guess you would say. So things along that line, people would talk about it, and I'm like, man, y'all talking about this shit from like a nerd perspective or like a lawyer perspective, but nobody here took the bar, or whatever you call it, the bar exam. So with that being said, it's like, but I'm really like from around these people, so I would speak on behalf of that and talk about this shit. And I wasn't even doing none of this dirt. I wasn't doing none of this shit. But again, because I'm in proximity to this stuff that I was raised around, I had enough respect to be like, you know what? I feel like it needs to be brought to the attention that everything that's being said here, is neglecting the obvious shit. So, for example, people be like, okay, I think people who are in underfunded areas and neighborhoods and shit, they need these resources. I'm like, okay, well, they would say, how do you get the resources to those people? I was like, maybe we'll put it on the what do you call that shit? The light. Ooh, these motherfuckers right here, the light poles. We'll put that shit in the community centers, on the bulletin board. And I'm like, bro, as someone who's from these communities, it's like when you're walking down the street, anybody got time to stare at a fucking light pole that has an advertisement of some positive shit, unless there's like a naked female on it or something. And even then, it's like when you're at the community centers, nobody's like looking at the bulletin board. Nobody's looking forward to shit unless it says like, hey, there's a paying job, or like a what do you call this, like an internship or something. And even then, people don't give a fuck because it's too job related. So a lot of times, motherfuckers will just be in the community center just to like use they'll use the what do you call it shit, the computers. They'll be there to talk to a female, play basketball type shit, just hoop. Just motherfuckers be there to kick it. Trying to do. Nobody's over there looking for opportunities. And it's like, no offense to the few that are, because I was one of the few that was, but it's like the few that are like 5, if not 10% of shit. But I will say, in more recent times, the thought pattern of the thought behind that shit is shifting. You know what I mean? So there's a lot more people that are looking for a way or looking for a reason to get out of the life or just get away from their own environment. So that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, I would be in those meeting rooms like, hey man, you ain't saying nothing wrong. It's actually coming from a good place, but you gotta understand that nobody's looking at that shit. You know what I mean? You almost gotta advertise things a certain way. You gotta grab people's attention a certain way, and even after you grab them, they might feel like a false hope or say, oh, you got me. You know, so nobody wants to feel like they got. And that's a whole nother, you know, matter of fact, it's all in the same vein. But yeah, man, it'd be moments like that where I was like, see, again, these people, but here's the thing, these people were speaking from their truth, whether there was a bit of naivety or not, naivete, if you will. So because it has that, they were actually being their truthful selves. But again, because I was more or less on the side of like, I think I'm speaking on behalf of the people that aren't represented in this room. Again, I wasn't speaking for myself, so that was, but it wasn't, again, like I said, it wasn't a bad thing. So there's moments where it's like, it's really, I mean, I'll speak for myself, I guess, where it's like, it's really easy, you know, to jump in front of the bullets for someone else and defend them. You know what I mean? If you're one of those people, you're like, always be offended on behalf of other people. And there's nothing wrong with actually defending people that aren't in the room. I think that's a dope thing to do. But at the same time, we have to be honest with ourselves about how much of a times our own character is being assassinated or being attacked, and then we don't really stand up for ourselves in the same with the same intent or like energy or whatever. So that's my whole thing with that, where it's like, I think when I used to view people who would get offended at their ego being attacked, and on one end it's like, all right, man, this person's just egotistical, they're full of themselves, and they really feel full of themselves on this specific topic or whatever it may be. It might just be everything in general. Like some people don't like to be, you know, talk shit on, talk shit about, excuse me, about anything, which is fair. It's fair because you don't want nobody trying to play you, and I can respect that. But I used to look at it as like why does this person seem that? Why do they feel that important about themselves? But on the other hand, I think about certain individuals that I personally knew that were like that, but then they came from a background of like, their families have been beaten down by everything, all the isms you could think of. You know what I'm saying? The racism card, the fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Masculinity type shit, all that shit. They've been tested, battle tested, and motherfuckers just tough and strong forever type shit. And they need a break from that shit. They need to break free more or less. And it's like, come on, dog. They ain't never get no break. So, fuck, I kind of lost my train of thought. But I was like, I know people that come from that, and it's just like when you see them have a sense of confidence, it's because they know they come from that. That's where the strength comes from, because they know they come from these families and this background, even this upbringing. You know what I'm saying? And we're seeing like a generation of people where it's like, I'd say close to my age, the 30s, I'd say, that are finally like, if they spent their 20s figuring shit out and battling things out and doing the therapeutic things and even like finally making money and adulting to take care of people older than them. Like when you start taking care of people older than you and looking out for them and paying their shit, like it could be even the smallest thing, from like the moment that a kid takes their parent out to eat and finally pays for their food. Even if you do it like one or two times, like it might feel like the shit at the time, but knowing that you can consistently do it is like a really good feeling. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm speaking to that regard where it's like those kind of people, I guess I'm in that same bracket more or less, but I know some people that very boisterous because they know where they came from. They can't, but that's the other part is they can't let go of it. But here's again, like I said, bringing it back full circle, they're being themselves, and that's what I love about them. Motherfuckers are unapologetically, you know, boisterous, if not egotistical, and I can respect it because, like I was saying, for my own self, I don't even be gassing myself like that. I be in spaces where people are like, man, I remember you used to do this, that, and the third. You were dope, and I'm like, I hear what you're saying, bro, but I think I'm constantly thinking about the possibility of my improvement, if not my potential, and that's why I don't celebrate myself, and that's my issue. That's on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. That's nobody else's issue. That's my own. Where I'm like, motherfuckers trying to celebrate me, and I'm just not having it. I'm on bullshit like that. So, and whether that's right or wrong, I can't really say because when I meet people like that are humble too or whatever, it's interesting because it throws me off. For like, oh, I'm, I get it. I'm a champion you instead, and what was I gonna say? Yeah, I was gonna say within those same like kind of spaces, it's like, and it kind of spreads out towards like the internet as well. There's always people that want to stand up and fight for other people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like it'd be dope to hear from the perspective and opinion of those individuals that you're fighting for. I understand your concern, where you're coming from. It's dope to hear that, but there's a level of misrepresentation. So I will, I'll take the L of like, matter of fact, I'll do even better and just apologize if I've ever misrepresented anyone, misinterpreted and misrepresented anyone, um, for speaking on behalf of them rather than my own truth. You know what I'm saying? But this is the game now where it's like, if you feel that someone is at, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but it's like someone's being attacked. You got to trust that they know how to defend themselves. And a lot of times it's like we treat certain people like they're still youth. And it's like, no, you fucking grown. I don't care how much you feel like you shouldn't be scathed or you should be respected, but you have to continuously, constantly like fight for this respect. And I think that's part of what it is. Cause like you think about the people that came before you, they for sure had to. They fought through other people's confusions and perceptions of them and were real about it. You know what I'm saying? They handled it the best way they could. And the respect is shown throughout history. It's documented. We can't have these little participation trophies just because, and again, I ain't talking shit, but I'm just like motherfuckers that come out the closet to people that just announce a flip of like, hey man, I got out the street. Like, it's just, all right, cool, but what else is you doing after that? Because some motherfuckers get out the street and there's still like a liability in their household. Motherfuckers get out the street and they still be a liability to their roommates, if not the parents' household that they're under. You know what I'm saying? So what are you really doing? So you just can't have a participation trophy to say some fluffy good shit. What is the progress that was going on here? What did you actually do? What is the pushback in the fight? You know what I'm saying? So, but again, a lot of that comes back to who you are. And it's hard for me to really speak on that behalf because even as someone who's boxed for so long, it's like I try really hard to be a pacifist, but it ain't easy. It ain't easy, bro. But it's all about principles and philosophies for me. But I also got to refine that too because I do think certain people need to be checked. You know what I'm saying? So I got to step up a little bit myself. So that's my own self reflection on that. Like, I don't necessarily got to check everybody's chin unless they're getting really violating or whatever the fuck. But for the most part, I got to put people in check and put my foot down assertively a little bit, have a bit of self respect for myself because I'd be letting shit slide knowing that I can potentially just fuck someone up, you know what I'm saying? Mentally, verbally, lyrically, etc. But in hands, that's easy. That's easy work. The hands is easy work. That's why I avoid it. Yeah, man. Listen, that's what the topic is, man. That's all it is. Is you know, people wanting to be heard but not necessarily speaking as themselves, and it's a blurred line. It's a blurred line. It's a pencil line that's slightly erased, slightly smudged, and just be careful on it. But self improve, and self protect. Listen, man, we out there, bro. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. I'm about to peace out right here. All right. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. I'm gonna keep the content rolling. Peace.